It's early morning on February 22nd, 2026, in the quiet mountain town of Tapalpa, Jalisco. A convoy of Mexican military vehicles moves silently through the mist. Suddenly, gunfire erupts. One of the most powerful men in the world is cornered. Moments later, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho, the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, is dead. This is the story of how Mexico's most feared cartel boss was killed in a daring military raid, and how the capture of his son years earlier set the stage for the final chapter of one of the bloodiest eras in cartel history.
Across the country, roads have been blocked, cars and buses torched, banks and shops set on fire.
Violence broke out in the country as a result of his killing. Suspected members of the cartel began burning dozens of cars.
Violence has broken out in several cities across Mexico.
The reaction from his cartel has been immediate and violent.
Therefore, from this security meeting, which is in permanent session, we have activated the Code Red.
This is Tapalpa, a peaceful town of about 20,000 people, 2 hours southwest of Guadalajara, in the heart of Jalisco state. On Sunday morning, February 22nd, 2026, this quiet mountain community became the stage for one of the most significant blows against organized crime in Mexico's modern history. Mexican special forces, acting on intelligence that included support from the United States, launched a high-risk operation to capture or eliminate Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho. He was the founder and leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, or CJNG, widely regarded as Mexico's most powerful and violent criminal organization. To understand why this moment was so massive, you have to understand who El Mencho really was. Born in 1966 in a small town in Michoacán, he started as a street-level enforcer. He rose through the ranks of the Sinaloa cartel before breaking away to form his own group, the CJNG, in 2010. Under his leadership, the cartel became known for extreme violence, military-grade tactics, and control over huge portions of the fentanyl and methamphetamine trade into the United States. The US government had placed a $15 million bounty on his head. For years, he was considered public enemy number one in both Mexico and the United States. But on February 22nd, that long hunt finally came to an end. The operation was swift and coordinated. Mexican Defense Ministry reports confirmed that several cartel members were killed in the firefight. 2 others were arrested. Armored vehicles, rocket launchers, and large quantities of weapons were seized. 3 Mexican soldiers were also wounded and received medical treatment. Within hours of the announcement, the country felt the shockwaves. CJNG loyalists responded with immediate retaliation. Roads were blocked with burning vehicles and buses. Businesses were set on fire in Puerto Vallarta and other parts of Jalisco. Tourists were told to shelter in place. Flights and ground transport were disrupted. The images of thick black smoke rising over one of Mexico's most popular beach destinations spread around the world. This is what happens when you cut off the head of a cartel this powerful. The body still thrashes. Now, many people immediately ask about his family, especially his son. Ruben Oseguera Gonzalez, known as El Menchito, was once seen as the heir apparent to the CJNG empire, but his story ended years earlier. In 2015, Mexican authorities captured El Menchito in a dramatic raid. He was extradited to the United States in 2020. In 2024, he was convicted on serious drug trafficking and firearms charges. In March 2025, he was sentenced to life in prison, plus 30 years. He is currently serving that sentence in a maximum security US prison. So when viral posts began claiming that El Mencho's son was captured after the raid on February 22nd, those claims were not accurate. The son had already been behind bars for years. The recent operation was focused solely on taking down the father. The killing of El Mencho marks the biggest victory against the CJNG since its rise to power. For more than a decade, This cartel had terrorized Mexico with public beheadings, drone bombings, and extreme brutality that even other cartels feared. El Mencho himself was a former police officer who turned to crime and built an empire based on absolute loyalty and ruthless violence. Now, with its leader gone, the cartel faces a dangerous power vacuum. Experts are already watching to see who will try to take control. His daughter Jessica, other relatives or rival lieutenants. The violence we saw in the hours after his death was likely just the beginning. This raid was not random. It was the result of years of intelligence work, cooperation between Mexican and US agencies, and careful planning. The fact that it happened in Tapalpa, deep in CJNG territory, shows how far the Mexican government was willing to go. For the people of Mexico, this is a historic moment. For the families who lost loved ones to the cartel's violence, it brings a measure of justice. For the United States, which has spent billions fighting the flow of fentanyl across the border, it is a significant win. But it also raises difficult questions. Will the CJNG splinter into even more violent factions? Will the violence get worse before it gets better? And what does this mean for the future of the drug war in Mexico? The killing of El Mencho on February 22, 2026 will be studied for years to come. A cartel kingpin who once seemed untouchable, finally brought down in the mountains of Jalisco. One man, one raid, one moment that could change the map of power in Mexico forever. If you want to know why El Mencho put on a list to be killed or captured, check out my recent video about the CIA kill list.